Well, it's that time of year where things are getting away from everybody. I mean, everybody is dealing with all of these crazy things that seem to be going on in the world. And at the same time, things that really matter, like your garden, your food forest, your hugelkultur mound, all these things are jacked up from the feet up because of neglect. And it even happens to the best or worst of us. I don't care where you are. You get so busy with all the things that are going on in this world, and you don't stay on top of the things that really need your attention. You know, with the benefit of hindsight, had I not been looking at the things going on in this world, or, you know, being too engaged with the nonsense that just seems to be happening on a daily basis, you know what? All of this goldenrod might not have taken over my hugelkultur mound. Or all of these other weeds I see growing here, there. Remember, they're not weeds. They're pioneers, but they're only there because of neglect. Just like Greg Judy often teaches, is that when you see bare soil, that is an open indication of poor management. Well, when I'm out in my food forest, yeah, it's okay to see weeds here and there, but when I see more weeds than the things that I really want, that's telling me that I've done a little lousy job on, you know, in terms of what I need to do out here in terms of maintenance. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video today. But I'm not just going to, we never talk about a problem without at least giving you a real viable solution and going about it. So today we're going to go right back to our friend, Mr. Cardboard. We're going to show you how we solve some of these. You know, back when things weren't vegetative, you could actually see what was here before. That is a little mini pond. Over there is a hugelkultur mound. But they kind of all blend in right now, and to a certain extent, that's part of the design. But to a great extent, it's not part of the design. In fact, I got a fig over here that if I'm not careful, it's going to be surrounded and covered up. We got a pear over there that if I'm not careful, the mulch ring is going to get away from it. Over here, we got an apple. Probably went a little heavy on the bone sauce, but this one ain't doing so bad, and it's more mature that it's not a problem. But I got grass, thank God no Chinese silvergrass. And as I go up here, I'm getting more in the weed territory, or pioneer species territory. Down there, as you can see, is a line of comfrey. Obviously, we want that. But we got weeds, I mean, mostly goldenrod and a bunch of other stuff in here. As we just kind of trek through here, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I want to be careful because buried down in there, I can see an oregano. There's thyme right there next to it. There's rosemary on the other side of it. But if I'm not careful, got plenty of yarrow, no shortage of that. If I'm not careful, all of this stuff is going to be choked out. So, what is the simple, easy way? Because honestly, this part of the food forest has gotten away from me. I mean, even this plum cod ain't doing so wonderful right now. But we're going to help straighten it out as best we can. And honestly, it all comes down, I'm going to swing around this way. It all comes down to what you see once again in the back of this truck. We got some of right here, some of that really good cardboard. If you go back and watch the short, I told you about where I got some. I've got a weed eater here, got some string because I'm probably going to need it. And then underneath all of that, you see a bunch of wood chips. So this is going to be a little bit different than when we did the instant garden, because a few things are going to change. Where we just laid down, you know, a little bit of cardboard, we're going to go about it a different way because we got a different purpose here. So let's get hopping and popping. If I look at the totality and I spend too much time thinking about the larger problem, I'm never going to make it anywhere. Folks, this is why I often say this is not a war we win in miles, we win it in inches. I'm looking at that mound right there. I got goldenrod and everything else all over it. You know what? That's of no consequence to me right now. So I'm going to actively say to myself, you know what, Billy, leave that for now. I'm going to leave that and I'm going to chop and drop it, maybe cover it up with a little bit of soil, don't have to. I'm going to chop and drop it and I'm going to deal with that probably in the fall. But the other areas around here that obviously look a little problematic, there's not that bad. Like right through here, I got nothing but comfrey. I got a few weeds popping up over here, but you can see the mulch ring that I've already started. Every single day, here, this is, if you don't take anything else from this video, please get this. Every single day, Michelle and I make a little trip and we make it a party with a purpose. So if you got to go to town for any reason, well, stack all those functions in there. So what do? Get a bunch of wood chips, put them in the truck in buckets, and then we grab a bunch of cardboard, as you can see right here, on top of it. Everything over here, take a good look, as messy as it is, everything over here looked exactly like this did. And over the course of, I would say, honestly, a week, we've covered this area that you can see right now. In fact, we can walk on it because this is all cardboard covered up with mulch. But we've done it a very different way than what you saw us do up here in this previous video, where we put in our instant garden. Remember, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna plant it, and don't worry, we're gonna take you for the ride on that. But the method over here is so much different for a couple of reasons. Now, that ultimately will transition to what I'm standing on right now, but we're not there yet. I want that to be my annual, or it could be a perennial garden. We'll discuss that later. But right over here where I got everything hopping and popping, look, I wanna make sure it stays that way. So, let me show you the variation, and this is gonna mean a whole lot to all you folks out there that are thinking, man, good night. You know, things in this world just got me, you know, I got this, I got that, I gotta pick up the kids, gotta go to the ball game, gotta do this and that. I'm gonna show you once again the easiest way to deal with something that is a complete mess. And I'm gonna build on the little bit that I already had there. Once again, we don't win it in miles, we win it in inches. Let me go get the stuff and I'm gonna show you how we make short work of this. Look, I know everybody feels put upon these days, and I'm gonna show you how we do it 15 minutes at a time. It could be about 20. Now, obviously, I'm making a video here, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. Like I said, inches, not miles. Think that way. So, as you can see, if we just kind of pan over here a little bit, you can see what's already been done. Right here is where I've left off. Now, what do I want? First, obviously, that's easy enough. You're going to find out what you want and what you don't. So, comfrey. Don't want to cover that up, but all these weeds in between, guess what? Can't sit here. So what we're going to do, unlike we did in the last one, because this is very different. Remember, in that one, I am going to make an instant garden, meaning I'm going to have to come back in short order. And like I told you before in that last video, about 2 weeks, I have no intentions of coming back to this for about 6 months at the most, or at the very least, and to a year at the very most. So this is how it's gonna be a little different. And so I don't have to keep messing with it, but I'm not gonna hurt anything. So you can see where I left off here. Here's how I'm gonna do my cardboard. I want a little bit of edge. Look, folks, wherever you have edge, you're gonna have a lot of life. For good or for ill, you're gonna have it. Ain't no two ways about that. So I am going to triple up the cardboard on my edges. So there's 2. And I'm gonna go number 3, and I can overlap that a little bit to where it's right here. Now I got a tree over here that obviously needs maintenance, but we're not gonna worry about that just now. All I'm doing is tying in my edges, but my cardboard is so bloody thick that there is 0 chance of any weeds coming through this thing. Not this season. And here's the cool thing about it, because I'm putting all this worm, not just worm food, but food for all these different critters down there. Worms are at the top of the food chain there. Because I'm putting this down the way I am, it's gonna take a while for that. Even if your soil is a little bit alive, when it's triple thick, it's gonna take a while for any critters to get through there. So on the edges, where it's most critical, because I can still get a weed eater down between me and that woven wire fence. So I'm gonna triple it up right there, and I'm gonna go, and if I want, I could triple it up everywhere else around here. So let me grab a little more cardboard, and I'm gonna kind of just lead off of the edges I already have, and then we'll keep on rocking. All right, got me another little stack of cardboard. Now, I'm not gonna go so crazy on the cardboard. As you can see, I got a mulch ring right here. Who cares? I'm gonna cover it up again. Tree ain't gonna complain, trust me. So I got comfrey right here. I'm gonna avoid that, so I'll put a little piece right there. And just kind of go over like so. And then on the other side of this comfrey, so it's still poking its head up out of there, but I gotta be careful that I'm not covering up the other comfrey. So if I gotta fold it over like that and drive on, that's how we're gonna roll, right there. tons and tons and tons of cardboard. Now over here, got another little thing going on. Now there's a little comfrey in here. I probably want to avoid that as well. Over here we got some thyme. It's not doing real great. It's got thyme actually and strawberries all growing throughout it. And we're gonna do the same thing. Look, I'm gonna not get too far ahead of myself, because if I put too much cardboard down and I don't have enough material to cover it up, I'm gonna likely make a bigger problem for myself, because wind comes, rain comes, blows this stuff all over. Look, we are minutes into this, minutes. And look how much I've covered. It doesn't seem like a whole lot to John Q, whoever out there, but it's inches, not miles, once again. Now let me get the next one. All right, so we got some aged wood chips, and I'm saying like seriously aged in most cases. Now, if this were a garden that I was gonna put in, you know, whether it was perennial or annual, if it was something I'm gonna go out there and plant, look, I would not be using this technique, but I didn't want somebody to go out there and make the awful mistake of doing what I'm doing right now in one of those areas and then wondering why you can't stab through the cardboard, because I am laying it in super thick. And let me tell you what else I'm doing so you don't have any problems. I am overlapping this cardboard in an insane kind of way. If you look down here, the previous one ended here. I am way over it. And I'm stacking these chips up. So it looks like I'm not really gaining much, but I'm stacking these chips up to where they're every bit of about 8 inches high. Now, it's not fast moving, but I don't need it to be fast. I need it to be effective. Just so you know, we did exactly the same thing in this area about 3 or 4 years ago. And walked away from it, didn't look after it. And, you know, that's what happens. This is exactly what happens. So it's not a complete laissez-faire way of gardening, but it's about as close to it as you're ever going to get. This is why I love perennial systems so much, because I don't have to spend time out here weeding. I'm not over here, oh my goodness, all that nice mycelium that fell out of there. I'm not spending all my time weeding. I couldn't care less about any of that stuff. I'm spending my time looking after things, dealing with problems when they arise, and then harvesting. But right there, let me go ahead and get the rest of it on here. But look, if you don't, look, I am well aware of the fact that all of us right now just feel so put upon with the things that are going on in the world. Whether you got trans testicles floating around at the Olympics or whatever else is going on, the things happening in the schools, whatever the case may be, man, you get caught up in these things, and then next thing you know, the important things get kind of left behind. Well, like everybody else, I'm having to make sure I take a serious audit of my time and how much time I'm devoting to those things. And then, like you, I got to say, okay, spent too much time on that garbage. It's time for me to do something effective. So, let me tell you also, let's say you're planning to put an orchard or food forest somewhere. You think this might be a pretty good way to prep the soil? Let it go for a year. Say you don't have time right now, but you're going to get back to it later. You think this might be a pretty effective way of doing that? Well, I assure you that it is. And here's the best part about all this. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over, probably to the annoyance of a number of you out there. You don't win this war in miles. You win it in inches. That's how we've been able to do as much as we do. So if you look at this, somebody's going to say, well, that's not a whole lot of work being done. Well, consider that from here, we've been working on this remediation every single day. Every bit of this stuff back there looked exactly like it does here. And then working at this thing piece by piece, inch by inch, day by day, just getting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 buckets a day, somewhere in that neighborhood. We've been able to gain this much in just a week. So inside of a month, I mean, at this rate, if we just keep doing it every single day, this whole area, the biggest problem child down here, should be remediated just by doing it when you're able. So let's say you have a regular town job. You know, maybe you might want to start there in the morning. Consider it, because honestly, this is how Michelle and I do a lot of this. consider it a workout. You're going out there right now. I'm getting a lot of vitamin D. It's usually never a problem on a farm, unless you're one of those farmers that, you know, farmers behind a keyboard, but I ain't one of those. I'm out here getting my vitamin D. I'm out here getting a workout. I'm out here doing all kinds of wonderful things. And most importantly, man, I'm out here doing work that means the world to me. Okay, I got a few more buckets, but all I'm gonna do is kind of smooth it over. I got the equivalent of about 8 inches of wood chips down here. I can guarantee you, I will not have to mess with this for about a year, if at all. Because now when I see problem children popping up out of here, I'll deal with it decisively, or more decisively. This is as far as I'm gonna go. I want you to look at what I got right here. See that edge of that cardboard? If I get a big rain event, it's just gonna, if I go right to the edge, it's gonna screw me up for the next piece of cardboard that I'm gonna put on there. I don't want that. So I'm gonna stop about right where you see here. I could go a little bit more right here because I got another bucket back there. But I'm just gonna leave a little bit of edge so I can take the next pieces of cardboard 3 deep in most places. Don't, like I said, don't be afraid to go super, super thick in situations like this. Whether it's your orchard, your food forest, whatever the case may be. But trust me, your soil food web is gonna thank you for it, the deeper you go. So 8 inches, I could be up to 1 foot if I wanted. And these are super aged chips. Do you have a place around you where you can get cardboard? I'll bet money. Do you have a place around you where you can get some wood chips? Probably so. Check schools, check universities, check churches. I guarantee there are wood piles around you that you may not know about. Check Craigslist. There's so many different ways you can go about this to get these things done. And right now I wanted to do this video because I know so many people feel put upon with the nonsense that's going on in this world. Meanwhile, the important things in your life, whether it's your family, whether it's your kids, your relationship with the Almighty, all those things are probably suffering right now because all of us, to some extent or another, until we catch ourselves, are watching this nonsense instead of focusing on the things that really, really, really matter. All right, y'all, remember, we got the Homesteaders United Jamboree coming up August 29th through the 31st. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be showing y'all how to do some really, really awesome stuff. In-person compost class. I've never done that before in person, and we're going to knock it out of the park because I got my son coming in. He's going to be, you know, tag teaming this thing with me. Also going to be processing an animal. Look, you go there, you're going to walk away with so much knowledge that it should the worst happen, you're going to have some pretty awesome skills to be able to build on should anything really stupid jump off. I'm not living my life that way, y'all, and I recommend you don't either, but be prepared for it nonetheless. All right, so all I have left is a couple more buckets, and I'm going to keep plugging away. And I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to revisit this video, and I'm going to say in about, we'll give it a month, and I'm going to show you what little tiny 15-minute blocks, because that's all it takes. It doesn't even take that long. Really, when Michelle's, for me, it's 15 minutes. When Michelle's here, it's half the time. So 15 minutes a day, and how you can remediate some of the worst things you have going and use it in all things. All right, y'all, thank you so much for your support. If you need some of the bone sauce we got on these trees, check out the website. You need some of the comfrey we got growing everywhere, the most valuable thing we grow around here. Go check us out at the website. Check out down below, there may be something you need. Until next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. We'll see you next time.